Of hot flashes. I've been walking around the house being like, oh, I'm patting myself. Okay, here's what I want to do. I need to figure out a couple things. I need to first figure out, am I live? Shit. Where's my phone? Damn it, Beavis. I was like so prepared, but then not, apparently. Okay, so am I live? Question number one. Let's go see if I'm live anywhere. I mean, I don't have any viewers, so clearly I'm not live anywhere. I mean, I am live. I could be live and not have viewers. Okay, hello. Let's see. Okay, are we in here? Hello. Now, you are live and people can see your stream. Okay, stream preview. Is it a black screen? What? That's fine. Is this what it looks like? Can you hear me? Oh, there I am. Look at me. I'm here. Oh my goodness. Am I muted? Oh, I'm muted. Here's what I want to do. I need to figure out a couple things. I need to first figure out, am I live? You don't need to be. I don't need to hear myself talking. I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? It's because the hot flashes. I can't even with how hot flashy it is right now. Okay. All right. So that's one thing. Okay. So I know I'm streaming on Crowdcast. Let's see what's happening on the Book of the Faces. The Book of Faces. Yes. The Book of Faces. Am I live streaming on the Book of Faces? I don't see myself in here, but it does take some time to load. Oh, sometimes. Oh, man. This is great. I don't see myself on Facebook. Did it automatically change to like a page? Something weird is going on, people. Something weird is going on. Okay, interesting. I don't see the chat here for Crowdcast, but I do see the chat here for Crowd. Where the fuck is it? Hi, I am live. Frozen on this end. Okay, so Dawn says it's frozen. Cindy says I'm live. And I'm getting ready. Why do all my comments show up as replies on this? They're all, you might have actually clicked on reply to someone, or yours are all showing up on, your comments are going to all show up on the right hand side, and everybody else's comments are going to show up on the left hand side. So whenever you type something, it'll be on this side, and whenever someone else types something, you'll be on this side. So that's that one. Oh my God. You're getting, oh hey Emily, so good to see you. Okay, so here's, oh my God, I'm sorry. I just like so hot flashy today. All comments are double here. I only see one. How interesting. Reload your screen. Let's just try that to start. I don't think that's the problem. But I only see one, so that's super interesting. But, and again, this is a troubleshooting, like this is a day where we're testing this out. Oh, okay. All right. I think I'm done just, doing this, because it's been really, it's like today, this morning, I suddenly was like, oh my God, I'm so cold. How am I going to deal with this? And then I made myself a cold glass of iced tea, and I left it. Okay, so I'm going to have my cold glass of iced tea. God, I was so prepared. Were you though, Vanessa? Were you really? It's not, okay, it's not frozen. Okay, so let me know, let other people tell me now also, because Dawn, you seem to be having technical issues, so I want to make sure that this is, and it's fine that you are, will help you, but I just want to make sure that it's like, is this a systemic issue or is it a Dawn thing? Because we can work through the Dawn thing and we can work through the systemic thing, but it'll just be different solutions. I'm gonna get my iced tea and then I'll be ready. Be right back. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ah. Okay. All right. Okay. We're back. And we're back in the car again. Ugh. The setup is precarious, people. It is so precarious. Okay. All right. So I see you here. And now I'm just going to go in to make sure I'm on the squad right now, because I'm dual streaming. I'm using the Streamlabs dual streaming. Okay. I don't see myself in the squad. Christy, you said I'm in the squad? I see a photo in the squad. I don't see it in Facebook. And okay. So here's what's interesting. I have gone live using Streamlabs. So I'm not actually going live right now, like using Crowdcast. I'm using Streamlabs the way I always do. Let's see. Where am I streaming to? Streaming to output stream. Yeah, I can't change the settings when I'm live. That's great. How do I see? Yeah, it says that I'm streaming to Facebook, but I don't have viewers. So something clearly went wrong on this one. That sucks. Okay, hold on though. All right, so but we're on Crowdcast. I didn't see it in the squad. Okay. Now it's coming in quadruples for you. You know what? Okay, that's what I think is happening. Okay, Dawn, it's because you refreshed. So what I want you to do is I want you to close out of the window and come back, because I think that for you that was it's all fine for me. I don't seem to have control whether I show up as a comment or someone else's post or as a new post. Every single one of every single post that you make, it doesn't matter what you post, is going to just come in as a chat, and it's all one thread. So it's not like there's a comment to someone else's post or there's a comment to something else. It really is just it really is all going to be the same thing. So it's sort of like if you were doing an instant messenger chat, right, with a group of friends. Is it called it's Facebook PM. Sorry, it's like instant messenger. I was like, does anybody use AOL anymore? Why am I looking there? I'm looking there. It's almost as if you are, I got to get used to the fact that the camera's there now. It's almost as if you are on private message. If you, me, and 3 other people were in a chat together on that private message, everything that everybody else says is on the left-hand side and everything you say is on the right-hand side. So there's not a way, I don't believe, to reply to anyone that I was able to find. I can see that I can ban a user, I can delete a message, and I can ask a question. So it's really just a chat stream. So one of the things that I have found challenging in Facebook in general has been really the fact that sometimes you're replying to each other. I don't know who's saying what, and everybody's seeing different things. The other thing that I found challenging is notifying people and making sure people are like aware that it's happening. I have a lot less control over the live streaming. I'm not really here. We had a doctor's appointment checkup and a dental emergency for Daddy. Oh my goodness, Christy is not really here. She's not really here. If any of you watched what's it called? Ooh, there's a question here. We have a question. Do you see this? I do see this. I've done answering the question. I can comment on it and say, I love this question. I love this question. Comment. Yay. Okay, so let's say you want to suggest a topic. All right, can somebody here, does anybody want to suggest a topic of some kind? What do you want to talk about? Like, give an idea. So say you have a question about, so anybody who has a question about anything, put it in the ask a question section. Because what I want to show you is this is really fun. So here's how I found this, okay? I'm going to tell you how I found this. And in the meantime, Dawn, can you put this link in the squad? I know I said I was going to go live in the squad, but I really need to test this out. That's actually the purpose of this training. So let's just invite everybody to come to Crowdcast and come hang out with us in here while I tell the story of how I found this and why I think it's like change is hard. I'm just going to tell you, I know that change is hard. I will troubleshoot this so that I go live in Facebook as well as going live in Crowdcast, because obviously this is only the first time that I'm using it. But there is a reason why I was really excited about how this works. And it's because, actually, first let me start. So if you post a question, so somebody's like, I want to talk about, donkeys, whatever, right? Then let's say other people want me to answer. I see Sophia's shrooms. How do I add avos? Okay, so somebody said that. So next, let's say, I'll tell you in 1 second. So next, let's say right hand. So the answer to how do you add, there you go. How do you add avos? Sophia's shrooms. So if you want to add an avatar for yourself, you can actually make an account in Crowdcast and it'll let you pick your own profile photo. And then your profile photo, that's the link I already have posted. So you can just use that link over and over again. Thank you. Your video keeps pausing every 3 seconds. Okay, let me make a note of that so that I know that I'm going to copy and paste that as like I want to do troubleshooting on these things. Any trouble that you have, let me know. Because I'm making a list of the Crowdcast, like what are some of the things that we run into, because I'm evaluating this. That's why I'm trying it. My video pauses every 3 seconds. Double comments is an issue when refreshing. Okay. And then it's a new way of looking at chat. So that's an interesting one. I like that one. I'm not averse to change. Sometimes it's fun. Dude, so here's what's great, right? So let's say I'm doing a training. And you want, and Sophia asks a question, and then other people want the same question answered, you can upvote it. So now, if all of you go into the ask a question section, and you'll see that someone asked a question, Dawn asked a question, right? And you can go in and you can upvote it. So the way that Tia did, so here's how I found this, right? So the other day, it was really weird. I'm talking to Katie. Katie's talking about this thing. She fell on this funnel for someone on a Patreon. And I have been thinking about Patreon and different ways of streaming for quite a while, because honestly, that's where my passion is in content creation and in engaging with people in this way. And a few months back, we talked about how I didn't think that Facebook was the best tool to do all of the things that I've been trying to do. Like, I'm trying to make Facebook do everything. And the truth is it's not equipped to handle all of those things. And so I mean, it's fine. It just, time goes on. You kind of just like, well, this is the tool that I have. So we're just going to go with what we got. Right. And so she tells me about this Crowdcast thing. So I'm like, all right, great. So I go on to Crowdcast and, to like do some research and see what it's like. And so I sign up for an account, and it's free to sign up for an account. You can just sign up. So I signed up, and, I see something amazing. Tia Maria Torres of Pitbulls and Parolees is starting a podcast, and she's doing a Crowdcast where she does a watch party of the podcast, and they would kind of just chat and talk and hang out and just have a great time. And I was like, oh my God, I love this show. This is like my favorite show in the whole world. Pitbulls and Parolees is like, literally, I've watched every episode 10 times. I love Tia. I love her kids. I love everything about that entire show. It's amazing. And so, and so I went and, I signed up for it, and I was so excited. And it was only so like, she was just starting it. And the funny thing is, I found it in the morning at like 11, and it was starting at 3. That was the very first episode, the very first day. And I was like, oh my God, this is Kismet. Like, something is happening here. So I was there, I was live, because I was so excited, at the prospect of it. So, so I hung out with her. So I went and I watched the live stream. And what happened was, so I said something, right? I said, I was reading, it's exactly, you can do first. So it's like, there's a pre-party too. You can do a pre-party in advance. Oh my God, so many things. So like, it started at 3, but we went in early, right? So like, everybody who was there early was just hanging out, and we could chat together. And that's one of the things that I've actually found is missing, is that when I'm getting ready, like, I want to kind of be chatting with people. Like, I enjoy that part of like chatting on the side. I don't necessarily want to go live, but I want to just be like chatting. And so I feel like so I was trying to think about like, how could I do this in a way that made it easier for me, in terms of the way that I do it. And I couldn't figure it out. And this is actually going to be super interesting. When I get to the end, you're going to be like, I wonder how this applies to me. So, hi, Amy. Hello. I'm so glad you joined us. Okay. Sophia Ray, tap on, oh my God, somebody answered that. Sophia Ray, tap on the little asteroid looking alien. You can edit your name, username, and pick. Oh my God. I'm going to put this in here because this is something that I need to be aware of. So, okay. So I'm watching Tia, and Tia says, I have a Patreon. And I'm like, oh my God, you have a Patreon? I was like, I want to give you my money. And I went and I signed up for a year's worth of her Patreon, like, just like that. It was like, it was just like, that's what I'm doing. And so I said, I signed up for your Patreon. And she said, oh, thanks, Manissa. She said my name. And then she said, oh my God, that's a pretty name, which means she's never going to forget me now. She will never, ever, ever forget me. And I'm like, yes, that's amazing. So for me, that was like a really big deal. And I was like, that is how I feel, right? When I get to talk to people that I've been watching for a while. And Miss L said that. So Miss L, my intimacy coach, right? So like, I'm in her chat spaces as well. And when she recognizes me, I feel excited. And I realize that I really am more of a creator. Like, I like to create content and create community through content, but I don't necessarily want to be engaging, right? And I know that sounds weird, but like, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that Facebook was kind of starting to, and I'm not getting off Facebook. Don't worry about that. But my initial thought was that the way the way that we all interact together is through video, right? How do we hang out? We hang out on video when I go live and we talk. Other than that, I get private messages, right? And I get a lot of private messages, which is actually hard to manage because I have so many private messages, right? It's tough to manage, which is not a complaint. It's just how do I make it easier? Like, how do I make it so that like it's more streamlined, so it makes more sense? Because a lot of times the private messages chats that I get are questions of people asking for help, right? Hey, I have a quick question about this. I have a quick question about this. That psychologically, it's not really, like, mechanically, it's not really that different from going to a group and making a post on a wall. It really isn't. But for some reason, our brains think about it differently, right? That like just going in and sending a chat to someone is just a lot easier than going in and posting on a Facebook group. And it really got me thinking about how the kinds of help that I give, how can I give more help? How can I support better? How can I rearrange how things are done to make it so that I'm really providing what it is that each group that I'm serving needs, and in a way that excites me at the same time, right? That's really the challenge. It has to excite me at the same time, right? Creating community. Exactly. So Amy, I just want to say, jump over into the question and answers, and somebody upvote a question. I want to see I want to see the questions. Oh wait, I can do it too. I can ask a question. What is your name? Exactly. So I started to think about these things a lot. How do I answer the question? There we go. I asked the question. Do you see this? No, that was Sophia. What is your name? All right. Now I can't upvote my own question apparently. Okay. So I'm really excited that this all happened while I'm just going through TS Funnel. And I started to suddenly understand, like, that was the moment that everything kind of just, the rest of it all clicked into place about why I've been struggling. Because I couldn't figure out, like, everything felt perfect. I knew that my mission was great. The things that I had written down was great. My plan was great. I know how to, the problem I was having was now that I've revamped my entire business, how do I make money off of doing the thing that I love doing, which is creating videos and doing this art and doing all of those kinds of things, right? That's what we do. I'm a podcaster. And I realized that I had actually, for the longest time, thought that my products were what people were buying. Surprise, surprise, that's not what people are buying. You're buying me. People are buying me. They're buying the intent. They're buying the conversations that we have. They're buying the insight. They're buying the business therapy, as it were, right? Yes, the products are important, but it's all supported with this other stuff, and that's what people are really buying. But it's hard to monetize yourself, right? Like, how do I monetize myself? And also, that seems weird to say, I'm going to monetize myself, right? And so I started to realize that what I really wanted to do was have this coaching part with the social strategy squad and all that. That's one arm. But now I have my creative arm, right? And so I started to think of myself more as a creator of content as well, because what did everybody say when I said I was going to do this live? I miss my Manessa. I need my Manessa. Where is she, right? And I was like, that's where we are at our best, at our strongest, when we connect, when we're engaged, when we talk to each other like this. I don't feel like I'm at my best anymore when I am writing posts, which at some point in my life that was where I was at my best, but I just don't feel like that's where I'm at my best anymore. And so now, I think that so I realized that a lot of things have changed in terms of how I interact with people. And and this is what's going to blow your mind. This is why I wanted you here, Cindy, because it made me realize something, that sometimes it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's that maybe we haven't picked the right tool for what it is, right? And here's what, because I think I'm going to come back, Cindy, you and I are going to have a conversation outside of this, because I want to talk about you and Patreon, because I actually feel like it's a much smoother, the way that you talk about your business. I actually think you'd be more comfortable talking about it that way. Like, the second I heard, there was a therapist that I saw on Patreon. There's my intimacy coach on Patreon, and there is also Maria Torres on Patreon. And I watched her, and I started to see exactly how they do it, and how it is so much easier to do it that way for some content creators, right? And so I started to think about how we might be able to do some of these things. So we're going to come back to that, but I just want you to know that, Dawn, you just said that you're looking for a way to manage all of these questions. And here's what I realized about myself. So, big aha moment for me. It was extremely uncomfortable. Saturday was a very uncomfortable day. It was a great day, but also very uncomfortable, because it was I hate having new realizations. I saw this video Jenna sent me about Selena Gomez. It says, I'm tired of developing my character. Oh, I'm tired of learning life lessons. It's great. It's like, my character is already developed. It's fabulous. I freaking loved it. So how do you find the tools that are right for you? And what I realized was that we only know what we know. We only see what we can see. The solution. So if you're a surgeon, the solution to every problem is a surgical problem. If you are an accountant, that's not a really good example. If you're a builder, right, then every answer is going to be a building problem, construction problem. The real benefit comes, I think, when you are able to recognize that not all problems have the same solution, right? So just because you're a surgeon and surgery is what you do doesn't mean the patient in front of you needs surgery. Maybe they just need a pill, like for that headache, right? Similarly, And a lot of it is because they don't usually spend any time outside of that specialty. That's where that cliche comes from. It's because you get so specialized in one thing that you can't even think about anything else. And I got to tell you, this is what I discovered when I was at LuLaRoe too. So in direct sales, this happens a lot, where people spend so much time surrounded by their direct sales community and their people that they're selling to, direct selling, and their direct sales upline and their direct sales teams, that they literally forget how to do everything else. They forget how to engage with the world in a different way. That absolutely happened to me, and I've seen it happen to a lot of other people. It happens to PhD students. Oh my God, anybody who's ever gotten a PhD, hi Dee Dee, has the exact same problem, right? So this is not a judgment. There's no judgment here, but it is about acknowledging that once we put our blinders on and go in that direction, sometimes that's the only thing that you see. So when you run into a problem, this is the only solution. So let me give you an example about why I'm saying this. So when I started and left LuLaRoe and started my business, I knew that I wanted to change the world, impact lives, right? Change the world is big and broad. I wanted to impact women in a very specific way to help them, move into a different space in their lives. That's what I knew. They were depressed. They were anxious. They were trying to run businesses. Businesses were not succeeding. And I wanted to help them with a system that I knew would work. And so it took me all this time to figure out like how to make that system be something that would run on its own, right? So that runs on its own. But over the years, what has happened is that I have realized that in developing, right? So I at that moment, I knew that the way to do that was by becoming a coach, right? Because how did everybody else do it? They became coaches. They became life coaches. They became business coaches. They become social media coaches, but they became some sort of a coach or a service provider. So if you were going to actually make people's lives easier in business, right? You were either going to become a coach or a new service provider or some sort of service. I'll do it for you. Because those were the only two things that I knew. But now, okay, I spent all this time here. I've been, over the last 4 years, I still thought of myself as a coach, doing things in the coaching framework, and I'm still a coach. But I don't have to stick with the same coaching framework that everybody else has, right? I have been trying to force myself into the same framework everyone else has. And you know what's really funny is that at the same time, we've all been caught up in that same idea. I call myself a misfit, but here I am using the same tools as everybody else, doing the same thing, same kind of stuff, which doesn't make it bad. Just because something is a tool everyone else is using does not make it bad, and there's absolutely no reason to stop using it. However, that does beg the question, is some of the discomfort and the challenge that I'm facing a result of me using the tools that other people have said I should? And the reason why it's important to ask that question is because so far in my past and in my life, so many of the things that I have felt bad about and struggled with have, upon reflection, have been a result of me trying to force fit myself into someone else's mold, right? So I'm like, all right, how do I take everything? Because I've got all the pieces in place now. How do I, because and this goes to show you how well the Roadmap to Success system works, is I'm not actually changing anything other than the in terms of what I am doing, the impact that I'm having. All of those things remain basically the same. The thing that I want to change is the method in which I interact with people so that it can have the impact that I want and so that it can build the relationships that I want. Now, here's the thing. It's not even that I'm changing the way that I interact with people. I'm actually interacting with people the same way I always did. The difference is I need a tool that is designed to go with the flow in the way that I like to interact, right? So Monday morning intents are the way we all like to interact. Stop shitting all over yourself lives are the way we like to interact, okay? So is Facebook the best tool for that? And is it the best tool for the next future steps that I'm going to take as a result of this, right? That's really the question. So it's not about judgment about what I was doing in the past. It's not about it being wrong. It's not about changing just for the sake of changing. It's about recognizing that there was a discomfort within me and I didn't know where it was coming from. But the second I was faced with looking at, there might be a slightly different approach, suddenly everything fell into place and my enthusiasm and my excitement for everything just came back like a switch flipped. And I have been literally dying for today because I was so excited to share this with you because I wanted you to have the same experience that I did when I was watching Tia. Because for me, watching Tia and seeing this was so, so great. And over time, I can see what it can become. Right now, she'd done 15 or 20 of these. But so she had all of her shtick down and everything. This was my first. But because she doesn't know a lot of live streams, this is my first. But over time, I can see how I will also improve and get it to the point where it is as streamlined as hers. Okay, so Dawn, when you say, how do I streamline those questions? Let me give you an example, right? In our minds, what are our solutions? Well, okay. There's the solution of a Google form. People can send you a private message. They can message your business page. They can email you, right? There's all these different things, right, that they can do. And these are the things that you think about. I'm going to give you a completely different one that you've never thought about, okay? Miss L has a chat room on a software called Discord. Discord is really common in the gaming community, but it's being used a lot more with content creators and coaches to be able to stay in connection with their community. And if you are one of her patrons, right, you get access to her Discord channel. And that means that you can just send a chat to her anytime that you want, and she will help you there, right? So now you suddenly have the option where it's like, hey, okay, you want to support me at the Curvy Avocado and support the content I'm creating? Go join my Patreon. Okay, so now you're just sending people to your Patreon. That's all you ever have to do is send people to your Patreon. So the Patreon is split up into like, here's $1 for a cup of coffee, right? So like that's a monthly subscription, pays you $1 just to support you for what you're doing. Another level may be that like $5 a month that they get access to a recipe every month and, you know, and something else. I would actually recommend, Dawn, that you take a look at the one that Sophia posted yesterday. She posted one for a crafter who absolutely kills it. She's brilliant. I actually think this might work really well for you too now that I'm talking. And then the third one, the third tier becomes, say, $15 a month where they can ask you any questions they want at any time and maybe they get a call or a live or whatever, right? So basically people start paying you for access to you so that they can get the answers. Because I got to be really honest with you. When anybody asks you for your expertise and you are an expert, it's free coaching. That's all it is. And now this is not about judgment. There is no judgment. There's no, you're bad, I'm bad. I can't believe you send me these messages. It's not about that. It's about understanding what people want, right? And trying to find the way to give it to them in such a way that it doesn't, like, cause like right now, if what I'm doing to make money is I'm trying to create squad content, right? But all of the things that you need are in the lives and the PMs, then what I'm creating isn't helping you at all, right? Right? If you're sending me PMs and that's how you need help and that's how you want help and that's how I actually interact as well, then how is me, right, you know, making sure that I'm thinking about what post am I going to write every day in the squad, which like I haven't written posts and that's why, right? How is that going to further that? Okay. The other question says, okay, let's say you want to do, so like the live streaming thing was a great way to say, okay, I want to help people stay on track in the squad. Okay, what if we do a watch party once a week? We'll watch one of the courses and then we'll do a Q&A afterwards. And then you can just sit and ask me questions and we'll just go over it and we can workshop it and we'll do that once every couple of weeks we'll just go through the whole coursework, or once a week and we'll go through the whole coursework, right? Now suddenly I'm actually helping you push forward and we're having these training conversations that help you move your business forward, rather than simply doing a lot of things that may or may not work. And I think that one of the key areas that I'm at right now is I've figured out what works and I figured out what doesn't. And I figured out how we like to hang out together. That's why I'm bringing back Chasing Momoa, right? Because now Chasing Momoa will have a place in a Patreon as well. Now, for anyone who is a member of the squad right now, just don't worry about anything at all. You are grandfathered into literally everything that I create for the rest of your freaking lives. So don't worry about anything on that. Your subscription to the squad means that you don't have to pay for anything in terms of Patreon or this. Like, that's it. You guys are the crew, right? But for as I grow, that's the direction I want to go in, right? Okay. So let's talk about, so many cooking questions. So for Dawn, right, you hadn't thought about the fact that maybe you have a chat room that people pay for access to, and it's for like $1, they can ask like 2 questions, or they have access to one chat room. And like for $5, they can just literally ask you any question they have, or they can send you a quick video and be like, what do you think of this? Or whatever, right? And it takes away the pressure of having to run a Facebook group. Because when you think about running a Facebook group, the first thing that comes to mind, what do I post? What do I say? Why do people do this? You know, what is necessary for that? But when you take the Facebook group out of the conversation and you think about just take that out of the conversation, I'm going to come back to how we're using the Facebook group, because I'm actually using the Facebook group to replace the Discord chats that we were talking about. So that's what's going to be in the Facebook group for right now, right? But like, that's really the key thing, is to think about like, what are some of the different tools that you might be able to use, because now suddenly you don't have to worry about creating a post every day. Now you just worry about creating the content that you want to create, and people pay you to continue to create that content, which is essentially what you want to be doing anyway. But because our framework is of okay, I need to have a Facebook group and I need to do this and I need to do this, we only see that there is one way to make a business. this has really opened my mind, and I see now that I actually am moving into a space where I'm hanging out with a lot of different types of business owners with different target audiences, because I've realized that as long as we're still in this echo chamber here, we're never going to be able to bring in the good ideas that are coming from elsewhere. Okay, alrighty. So Cindy, I disagree. I don't think a Facebook group is a good way to manage those things. I think that the Facebook group is a good way to, and I'm glad that you actually said that, because you literally just proved my point. This is it's so perfect. I cannot thank you enough, right? Because the reason why your mind went to a Facebook group, because that's what you know. But truthfully, that is actually a really bad way to manage questions. It's so hard as a content creator. Like really, it is. That's what I'm finding is I can't keep up with the questions. I couldn't keep up with the questions in the squad. I was struggling with making sure I was engaging and keeping up. And I realized, what is it that I'm actually trying to do? Am I trying to run a Facebook group, or am I trying to build a community of strong business owners? And I realized that my time was not distributed in accordance to my impact, in accordance to what any of us wanted or desired in our hearts, and accordance into making money. Okay, alrighty, let's see what we got in here. Okay, so I know there's so much crazy stuff. So yeah, no, so we're trying out new things. So we're like, oh, you know how I've been, Katie, who was I talking to the other day? It wasn't Katie, it was someone else. It was somebody I was talking to the other day, someone I haven't talked to in a really long time. Who the heck was it? All right, well, anyway, I was talking to them, and we were talking about how there's like, you feel like you're on the cusp for so long. Oh, yes, I know. I was coaching someone, and she was telling me how she feels like she can feel something really big happening, right? And she's right at the beginning. And I said, listen, don't rush through this, because I'm telling you, you feel that explosion getting ready to happen, and you think it's going to happen really fast because it feels like it's so big. Just know that this is a burning ember within you that's going to burn for a while as you're working through whatever it is you're working through, right? Because the truth is that I've had that feeling of, oh, I feel like something is coming, right? Kind of like when you have sex, you know you're about to, and you're just like, okay. And then like, finally, thank God. Yeah. Like, yes. What is it? When Harry Met Sally, she's like, yes, exactly. Please tell me there's no children around. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, girl, you and me both today as well. Just keep swimming. Exactly. I picked personal coach for my professional profile, and I'm trying to make myself accept it. So that's really what I'm trying to accept right now, Christy, is that people are paying for access to me. And like, the problem is like a lot of people want access to me, and I'm giving that away for free while spending time here in things like spending time in, not now, but like last year and the year before last, in constantly creating new content. Gotta build more, gotta create more, gotta do more, gotta create a membership, gotta do this, gotta do that, just so many things, gotta do all the things, right? But I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't listening to what you were saying, because you guys have literally been saying this for 3 years. Like, every single one of you has been saying this for 3 years. Ow. It just took me a long time to actually hear what you were saying, but it wasn't just the hearing. Because in order for me to accept what you were saying, I had to accept that you were literally paying to talk to me. Right? And like in my mind, you weren't paying to talk to me. You were paying to get the squad content, like the coursework. But the truth is, not everybody was accessing the squad's coursework, but a lot of people were watching intent on replays, right? Still, I was not looking at the data and listening to what it said to me. Right? Oh my God, my eye is twitching. Oh, my eye is twitching. Why are you confused, Didi? So as the creator of Patreon, you have the option not to charge. No, you have to charge something, and you want to charge something, because here's the thing. You can create, so here's the thing. You can create content that people can see without having paid. So anyone can see content if you have it for free, but then you can put paid content behind a paywall. So, you know what? So if you go to, I'll post somebody who does that. So she posts a lot of things on her wall that are basically like anybody can see. So like if you wanted to be like, okay, I'm just going to post this stuff on the wall, so anyone who is in Patreon or who comes to this page is able to see like just the general posts that I make. But if somebody wanted to like get more access to you and more access to your videos, they could pay. So the way that I imagine it for you, Cindy, is this, okay? So let's talk about what I think the infrastructure would look like on the back end. And this is just brief. We're going to, we can workshop it in office hours or talk about it if you're interested. But so what I imagine is you're making your videos, you're doing your lives, right? And what I would do is I would say, like at the end of your live, you'd say, if you want more if you want more content, there's some things that I have on Patreon, or like that, head over to my Patreon for access that is specifically for my patrons, right? So now someone goes to Patreon, and on the Patreon page, they see, like they're now on Cindy's Patreon page, and on Cindy, and you can go right now, go to, there's so Dee Dee, we're going to come back to that in a second. Okay. I want to break this up because this is two totally different things. So then now they're on your page, and I want to recommend anyone who has the question, go to Patreon. I do not recommend using YouTube for this. I would use Patreon for this. And there's a lot of reasons why, because it flows off the tongue a lot more. 2, YouTube is owned by Google, which puts you right back into the big machines. Okay. 3 is Patreon is taking the place of your actual, or it's not taking the place. I mean, it could, it's not taking the place of my storefront, but it's going to take the place of a lot of the storefronts, right? Because like the business page is where you go live, but how is it that someone's supposed to buy from you, right? So Dee Dee, if I'm talking to Cindy right now on the business page, right? And I want to pay for Cindy's services. I want to pay for Cindy. Okay. What does Cindy have to do? Cindy has to tell me that she has services. She has to tell me that she coaches. And she has to now explain to me the value, right? And now here's the thing. Cindy, we know you struggle with asking for the sale. We know that one of your big challenges is that you don't want people to feel like they're being taken advantage of. That's something that you said that really rung, and that's why I thought of you this weekend, and it was actually connecting Patreon to you that made me think that it might work for me as well. Like it all came together at once, because I was like, okay, so now you're talking about, the first few days afterwards, or recovering, or whatever it is that you're talking about. And you're like, okay, I have exclusive content available only for my patrons, right? So this is on your business page. This is a video you can share on business page, TikTok, Instagram, whatever you want, right? Because that's your social media. That's where you're finding people and bringing them to you, because something has to be out there for you to be able to attract people and find them. But once you find them, you have to send them to someplace, right? Where are they going to actually buy from you from? So now, Cindy, it would be a lot easier for you to just say, I have exclusive access at Patreon, especially if you already know that you have free stuff available for them on your Patreon that is not on your business page, right? Maybe it's a video, like one special video. That's enough. That's more than enough for one special video where you talk about something important that they get access to. And if they want more, right, they can go and pay to help you, support you in creating the content you create. Okay, so now here's how that works. You create content on your business page, people watch it, you end everything, and you constantly are pointing people towards your Patreon. You don't feel bad doing that because you're not asking for a sale. You're just telling people to go to your Patreon so they can get access to more free content that you know is already there. They get to the page, they're like, I love you so much. Then they see 3 different options. And one option is, I'm going to, here, just support my work, right? Give me $2 a month and it'll support my work. Thanks. Somebody gives you $5 a month because they want access to a worksheet or like a call. And a 4th one might be that they have access to a chat room or a Facebook group with you, where if they want to come in and really talk to you about these things and workshop these things, they can do that. Or forget the Facebook group. You could say, I can do a Zoom once a month and you can come join me if you are part of this tier. So you get off of the Facebook group section altogether. So now you're never actually asking anybody to buy from you. You're just constantly sending people to Patreon and letting them know that there is more content there. The more confident you get, what did Cindy say? The more content, the more times you send people over to your Patreon. So now here's how that works. So now I'm sitting and I'm watching you. I'm interested in what you're doing, and I go over to your Patreon to see your video. Okay. So I know I see the video there and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I look to see what your patrons have, what are some of the benefits that you offer in the Patreon. And it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be a lot. I've seen Patreons that have, like one sheet, one phone call, and that's it. And some people have 100 patrons, and some people have 1,000, and some people have 30,000, right? But it's a little bit of money for people who are like, I want to support the work that you're doing, but you don't necessarily have like a product that you want to sort of create, right? Or you don't want to always have to be creating content, right? In terms of in your group. Because right now, one of the things that's been a struggle for a lot of you guys is that you're trying to create the Facebook page, the Facebook group. You're trying to keep the group. And the group made me realize that The group is a good place for community. It is a great place for you guys to talk to each other, for you guys to have longer conversations about things, for there to be, for me to, like Christy today I thought actually about it today perfectly. Christy made a post talking about how she screenshots all these things, but like doesn't ever use them. And I was like, oh my God, dude, you were so right. And like she did the conversation starting, and I was around to be a part of the community and hang out. But the pressure of keeping the community for me going wasn't really necessary, because she's keeping that going and I can be a part of the community that she's keeping running. And I can show up with the, hey, this is what we're doing. Hey, this is what we're doing. But I don't have to feel the pressure then of keeping a community running. Now that's because I have an existing community and we have this existing infrastructure. If I was to build this all over again, and let's pretend that like I had never met any of you and I was starting from scratch, I would probably go the chat room route. I would not actually have a Facebook group. I would have my business page, my Instagram, and my TikTok to bring people in to my business, which is essentially what the roadmap to success is it teaches you how to use social media of any kind, but we've picked Facebook as our benchmark to bring people into your business. But then the next question is, where do you send them, right? So right now, the thing that a lot of you have been struggling with is I feel uncomfortable saying whatever it is that I've chosen to send them to. And this is where my epiphany came in. I have trouble sometimes asking for the sale because I do not feel strongly or appropriate about the way that I have my sales funnel structured. The second I reframed myself and thought about it as a creator on Patreon who is engaging with their community, everything fell into place and I no longer feel uncomfortable about it. I will tell you, as soon as my Patreon is up, dude, pimp the shit out of it, because I know I create good content. I know I help people. I know all of the impact I can provide. I just want to get paid for doing it. And that's the same thing I want for you. I want you to get paid for creating the content you're creating. And what ends up happening with a lot of us is that who are coaches is that we end up creating entirely too much content for free. And a lot of that can go behind a paywall that people would be willing to spend $2 to $3 for. But you don't have to push them in that direction because Patreon is actually designed to do that for you. Okay. Alrighty. Wow, that was a lot. Oh my God. So good. I'm feeling so good today and very excited. There's so much more too. Okay. So exactly. Most of you haven't even looked at everything in the course. And the problem is the fact that you haven't means that what it is that I know is waiting on the other side for you is further away. So what I need is stuff that will make it so that I can make sure that you are making progress. And I really think that this video thing, this is like, we'll cycle it. We'll just cycle it through. There's 5 stages. We'll cycle it through and go through. And every time, and I hate watching myself on video, but we're going to do it. And then I'm going to learn so much doing it. It's going to be epic. So I think that's a really great idea in terms of how to keep people on track. So these are some of the things that I'm putting together to make it so that it's more in alignment with 1, the way that I want to interact with the world in general, 2, the impact that I want to have, and the changes that I know people can see in their businesses and in their lives faster, right? Because I know that we all want it to happen faster, right? Like I have no desire to make it happen faster for anybody, but I know everybody else wants it to happen faster. So it's like, okay, let's make it happen faster. And also to build in that elite, I don't want to say elite, that sounded terrible. Not elite. Maybe I guess we can use elite, but the word I'm really looking for is inner circle. The inner circle community that gets the chasing Momoa and that kind of thing, right? So but I needed to find a way to create that. Okay. Alrighty. Facebook does, okay, yeah, and that's another thing that's really important that Christy mentioned is Facebook doesn't allow the sales of digital stuff, but it also made me realize I don't want Facebook to be my be all end all. I don't want to be on Facebook that much. And I'm actually working on breaking up my friends list and removing a bunch of people from it who are people who I don't even know. I have 3,000 people on my friends list. Let's face it, they're not all my friends. I barely know some of them. I want to go through and call that list. Over the years, Facebook has become too much of not what I need it to be for me to enjoy my life. And I want to start to create a little bit more of a separation between my business and my personal life. And as long as I have Facebook group, Facebook this, I'm doing everything on Facebook all the time. I'm in Facebook, everything. It's just, that's what my life is going to be. Where your attention goes, that's what grows. So part of this is to redistribute where that access to me comes from so that we can have a healthier relationship with our business and with social media. Because ultimately, the bottom line is I'm tired of feeling like shit. I'm tired of feeling like shit. And for the last several years, I have felt like shit. And a lot of it is out of my control, but some of it is in my control. And the things that I can control, I want to be very intentional about. Okay. Yes, absolutely. We're going to be working. We can have as many conversations about this as you want. Like, meet me at office hours. Let's talk about it a bit. And this is well worth workshopping. For definitely a lot of you. I think that right now for some of you, it might be hard to like figure out how to conceptualize how you might do it, just because it's like many of you are not in Patreon or haven't used a Patreon. So I want to recommend that you head over, look at the very, like, just look at the ones that Sophia posted, and that the one she posted is actually the best, because it's like, it's very clear. It's very obvious. We're all crafters. It'll make sense to everyone. Okay. Alrighty. Christy, what if you had a keyboard shortcut reply that said that's a great question? So absolutely. There are ways to get around it, Elisa, to make sure that people are asking questions in the squad. And I think that she absolutely should. Because that is what I want the squad to be. And I really don't want anybody answering questions in chats, because the truth is that doesn't help everybody. And that's the goal. Why would we help one when we can help everyone? That is the whole mission of the squad. And that's my whole mission, right? Help everybody. When we do anything in a chat, we're not helping everybody. I like how the artists I've seen do a short version of how to do video technique, but then direct you to a Patreon if you want a longer in-depth tutorial with all the steps. Yes, exactly. So Dawn, you could do a short video, like a truncated video of like doing something. And then if they want like the full long video of you cooking, so basically you only have to cook it once, then you edit it once, and then the edited part is for like the lower level tier. The super 30-second version is on like Instagram, and then like the full length version is in like a higher tier, and then the full length version with support is like the highest version, right? Like that would be how I would see your art going. That's just like dirty back of the napkin math there. Sometimes a short one is good enough for me to figure out, and other times I might want more explanation, and then I go to Patreon. They aren't asking for the sale, but they say, hey, if you need help more, check out my Patreon. Exactly, right? Because ultimately that's what it is. And a lot of people, like, I've actually had people say, I want to give you money, I just don't need the squad anymore. And I'm like, I get it. They don't want to be in a Facebook group. They're leaving Facebook. They're leaving their business. They like the people that they've met, but their life, they want the people, but not the life that comes with having to do all the things to get to the people. And I realized something else, that like by structuring it this way, what I've done is I've created a space in which people, like I've created a beautiful space of community, right? But when someone feels like they're not making use of all of the things, but they want to have access to the people, they now have to leave, and now they don't feel like they have a choice, right? Like they don't, like I've created a space where you have friends you want to hang out with, but now there's not a steady time where you would hang out with them. And we all know that's how people drift apart, right? And we don't want to do that, right? So that's that's another thing as well. A lot of free content on Facebook is fill a posting space. Don't you think? I would say a lot of it percentage wise, yes. I would say the people who are truly creating content that makes money are not doing it that way. And that is what I've realized, is that one of the things that's come up a lot in our conversations is how do you make money? And the problem is we're all creating content. We're not creating money, right? That's the key. If you're creating content, that's great. But all you're doing is creating content. If you have to generate the income, otherwise you're literally doing it's, and I don't want to say it's a hobby, right? But like, it's one of the things, because I absolutely hated it when people said that, like, oh, it's just not a business, it's a hobby. But technically you are then funding your business with your blood, sweat, and tears, because the money isn't coming in as a result of those things, right? People want access to me too. I like the idea of what you're coming up with this. I use my Facebook chat. Yes, for you, Dee, I think especially the way you like to interact, I think a Patreon would work really well for you. And here's the thing. There are other options as well. So like depending on like, if you come to me and you're like, listen, I like Patreon, but I don't like this, and this, we can workshop, because there's plenty of other things out there. Patreon is just what I have a heart on for right now, because that's what I actually am working with. But like, my goal is to just get you to look in a different direction, any direction at all. Doesn't matter what direction it is. I need you to challenge yourself, and you may come back and say, I challenged myself and I feel like I'm going to stay exactly where I'm at, because these are the right tools for me. I actually had someone do that the other day, and I actually agree with her. I think that the tools she has are exactly right for her. I didn't even challenge her. She just said, well, you're doing all these things, I'm going to reflect as well. And so she spent like all these months doing this, and she came back and said, you know what? I need to remember, I'm actually where I want to be. And I'm like, perfect. Write that down somewhere, because that was actually the learning lesson for the last few months. it wasn't that you were trying to figure things out about like what you should do next. It was that everything that you're doing is exactly what you want, and you don't have to do something new just because you feel like there's a need to have momentum to do something else. Like if you're happy now and this pressure is coming from somewhere else, then get rid of it, right? Not a crafter anymore, but you understand what crafting is and you understand how crafting works. So if you go to the Patreon, you'll still understand. I don't craft anymore either. So I don't craft anymore at all either, but I still understand how it all works. So the Patreon will make sense. Like, it's not like I'm sending you to a Patreon for board games where like my friend sent me to a Patreon for board games and I looked at it and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Right? Like it'll be something that the framework, you're like, okay, I understand how this works. Okay. Well, the cool thing about doing it that way is you can record the full length and exactly. Okay. So, all right. So we talked about trying new things today. We talked about, Crowdcast. This is my post. Where is the thing? I had a whole, I have one comment. That's really weird. Super weird. I could have sworn I had like a, oh, there it is. Okay. I had it under training intent. Okay. We talked about trying something new. We talked about Tia. We talked about Patreon. Oh, we did not get to boundaries. Okay. So we're going to have to get to that next week. All right. Okay. Okay. So the thing that I wanted to sort of go to as sort of like the wrapping up part of the conversation was that here's where I got stuck. Yeah, no, I totally, so here's the thing. And I actually, Dee, you're hitting them, that's what I was about to talk about right now. It's exactly that. When I was looking at this, I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. That's how I felt on Saturday. I was like, Saturday morning, it was Friday night actually, because I could tell something was happening and I was like, oh God, is this happening? And I was like, fuck. And I was like, all right, it's great because I'm happy, right? So, when the Patreon thing popped up, now I'll tell you, the last 4 months or so, I've been a member of Decolonizing Fitness's Patreon for about 5 months, Miss L's Patreon for about 4 months, 3 months, and then, Decolonizing Fitness is longer than that. Actually, I already paid for a full year. As I started to hang out more with Patreon, doing Patreon things, I was like, oh my God, I started to just get that feeling, that itch, shoulder angel. Hey, do you think this might be the one we want to work for? Like, no, it's not. Shut up. No, I think this is it. No. Shit. It is, isn't it? Right? That's what started to happen. So I ignored it for a little while. And then this weekend was the time where I was like, oh my God, it just all clicked into place. I let go. Cause this weekend was the weekend that I actually meditated and said, I surrender to you, universe. I literally surrendered to the universe this weekend. It was quite amazing. And it was right after that I had my epiphany. Right after that, like, it was just all crazy, right? I realized that I have been so uncomfortable, the discomfort I've been feeling, and the reason why things didn't feel like they were fitting quite right is because I was stuck in thinking that Facebook had to solve all my problems for me. And the truth is, Facebook is extremely powerful, but the roadmap to success that I set up has it being only one small part, right? But yet my mind was still here. It's almost like when you get out of a relationship and you're still thinking about your ex, when you're dating somebody new, that kind of thing, right? Where you're like, you're in something new, but you're still looking back. And it was at that moment that I cut that thread and I realized that Facebook, I love you. I love you for the business page. I love you for the community that I have in the squad. But I don't want everything that I do to be centered on this platform. I need to be making money because I kept saying, as soon as Facebook subscription comes out, then I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do this. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to give, because I was going to do that later, right? So nothing's changing about what I have now. It was actually the next steps that I was going to do, because my next step was going to be, I'm going to do Facebook subscriptions and it's going to be $4.99. And then and I had this whole thing, but it didn't feel right. So the next phase of my business was what was not feeling right. Like I felt like I had a really strong foundation. That's actually the better way of saying it. I felt like I had everything in my foundation is strong now. I feel like it's very solid. But whatever it was that I was trying to do, that next step, that was what wasn't working. And I couldn't figure out what it was, because the next step I had assigned to Facebook subscriptions. And the second I tossed out the Facebook subscriptions and turned over into Patreon, everything made sense. I want you to challenge yourself to reflect upon the tools that you're using and ask yourself, are you happy using the tools, right? Are the tools what's holding you back? Are you trying to force something into the framework? And that's one of the reasons why I thought Cindy at first, but then Dawn, as I started talking, oh my God, for you as well, that you may have been trying to force you, like you have an idea of something that you want to do. Okay. So I want to direct this right back to each of you. This is, you have an idea of something that you want to do. There are things that you enjoy doing and things that you're comfortable getting used to doing so that you can become good at doing whatever that thing is. You're willing to do those things. But there are also things that give you anxiety, but that you in your gut know, or wherever your sacred, whatever your inner authority is, right? You know there in that space that it's not right. It feels like a tightness in your chest a little bit. And it just doesn't feel like the way that it is. There's something off and you can't figure out what it is. Now, for some people, it could be the platform. So for some people, it's the fact that they actually hate their jobs, right? For some people, they hate the business they picked. I definitely have had a client who realized that it didn't like, and it was great. After our third session, she said, you know what? I got to be really honest with you. I don't think there's any version of my business I'm ever going to love. I think I'm just done. She's like, I thought that I wanted to save this relationship with my business, but I don't. And I was like, great. That's also a choice. And that's also a right path, right? They're all right paths. But the key is if you have that feeling of discomfort, and here's how you'll know it. When you get going to do that thing, it bothers you. But there is something else that someone has said that has ignited you that you didn't want to do because it didn't fit in with your worldview. It didn't fit in with whatever it was. So like, for example, some people say somebody said that that somebody told them that their audience was too niched down, right? And so they were trying to broaden their audience, and their chest kept feeling uncomfortable whenever they tried to create a bigger niche. And they came to me and they said, I don't know what to do. And I said, fuck that other person. If this is your niche, this is your niche. These are the people you feel most comfortable with. There's nothing wrong with it. And her niche, by the way, like easily has 10 million people in it. Like in the world, probably, yeah, 10 million people in America, probably actually. Like easily. And like 100 million in the world. I'm like, dude, don't worry. Your niche is good. You're solid, right? But she was told that you had to do that, right? And so it's not just about the tools that you use. It's also about, you know, and Dee Dee's actually talked about this, how a coach told her, this is how you're supposed to be. And she's like, no, that's not what I want to do. Right. But we still can get stuck. Even here in the squad where we're so aware of the fact that we can get stuck in our own way of thinking, it's still a thing that happens. And so this is an opportunity for us to reflect. I reflected and I realized, fuck, I am not using Facebook the way I want to use it. I know exactly how I want to use it now. I feel amazing about it. I know now where my community is. I know how to talk to you. I feel great because it's like fabulous. And I've just been on a roll creating things nonstop. I'm waiting for some feedback on some things. Like I feel like we're just so close, right? And it's great. It's amazing. Actually, we're not even so close. We're there. Like, I don't even feel like we're so close. I feel like I'm there. I am totally here now, right? Not even so close. I'm here. All right. I'm loving my new too. If only my damn certificate would show up so I can try it out for real. Exactly. I think I need to understand, that's how I feel I don't have a strong foundation. And that's ultimately where the thing comes from, right? That's why I want to do the videos, is because once you go through all the videos with me, I promise you, your foundation is going to be fine. Like literally just go through the videos with me. Your foundation will be fine. That's it. And so that's the key. And so if that's the key, then why aren't we doing more of that? Right? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to figure out what I know, right? I'm there. That's the language I need to get used to using, is I am here now. Be here now. I am here now. Oh my God. You have no idea how cosmic that just was in my brain. Izzy's going to give me some shit about that later. The videos that are in the social strategy squad, the whole coursework, all of the coursework, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in Kajabi, they're all there, right? But most of you have not gotten through anything but 1 and 2. That makes sense. But some of you haven't even gotten through stage 1, right? Now 3, 4, and 5 are out, so any of you can look at it. But in the past, we only had 1 and 2. Great. But I know that a lot of you didn't even get through 1 and 2. So the thing is if you get through, if time with me is what you want, and the Q&A and the workshopping is what you want, then that's what you're going to get, right? And so we're going to basically watch the videos together, do a watch party. If they're like 15 minutes, and then we do a Q&A afterwards. You're like, okay, I've watched this now. Now I have questions. This is what's going on. Let's talk about it. And now, if you think about it, there's like 5 videos per stage. That's 25 videos, 25 weeks you'll be done, or exactly, right? But Dee Dee, once you go through all those videos, you will have a strong foundation. Like that's literally all you need. After that, when you're done, I promise, I commit to you. I don't care what other trainings you're doing with what other coach, with, you know me, I do not bullshit you. You go through those videos. Once you're done, you will be like, oh, I have a foundation. I'm good. And then you can build everything on top of that. But until you finish those videos, you're always going to feel shaky. So for everyone who's in here now who has not gone through all 5 sets of videos, all 5 stages, I want to recommend go head over to Kajabi. Dawn and Christy can help you with all of that. Get into Kajabi, go through the videos. Literally, if I do it 1 a week, it's probably going to be, it'll take us like half a year to get through all of it. But you can do it all on your own. And we can even do votes. Like, here, which video do you want to go over? And we can figure out the way to do it. But ultimately, that's the goal. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and trying these new things with me. Nobody upvoted. Thank goodness. Some people upvoted. There we go. Look at me. Upvoted questions. Fabulous. So we've done the upvoting. We've done the questions. Yep, Elisa, I see your question. So Sophia asks, is there a way to reply to a certain comment in the chat I'm not seeing in Facebook, or they go in order? They go in order, and that is actually how I see them. So I'll be really honest. I'm happier that it's like this because it's extremely confusing for me on Facebook when I'm live, because sometimes you're responding to someone else and you're having your own little private conversation and I am not. So we need to, if you're going to have private conversations, right? Or like if you guys are having a conversation here, great, keep it going. That way I can be a part of the conversation. Otherwise, I don't know who you're talking to. And it's really challenging for me to figure out if you're asking me a question or if somebody's helping someone else. And so that was one of the things with Facebook as a streamer I found very challenging, was really like staying on top of the comments because of the way they were. Okay. I saw an email the other day that said, when was the first time you realized you loved doing art? I couldn't remember, so I asked my mom. She said, I used to do amazing drawings for my age when I was little until I went to an art class where they told me all the ways I was doing things wrongs. She said, I refused to draw the way I had always done after that class. So do you want to hear something interesting, Sophia? I've always said I have the soul of an artist, but none of the talent. That's what I've said my whole life. I believed that my whole life. I am very talented. I know I am. But for my whole life, I didn't even believe it. And it's for the same reason. It's because people told me I was doing it wrong. Fuck them. That's what I have to say about that. Okay. Dude, this is epic. I love this so much. Okay, so we're going to try to make this a little bit better next time. You do not... Oh my God, look at that comment. You do not have... Oh, I can start answering a question. Let's see what if I start answering. It makes it the active one. Done answering. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay, start. Done. Okay, I can start and done. Start. Done. Okay, they disappear once they're done. Got it. And then I can go into the answered section. Fabulous. Okay, next time we'll play around with polls. I didn't actually even get a poll, so next time I'm going to set up some polls. So you know what? Next time what we'll do is we'll do a chat of some kind. So I'm going to do stop shitting all over yourself on this as well. So I'll add some polls to it. Let's see how that works out. Okay? All right, guys. I love you. You're the best. This is an epic weekend. I hope you have an epic, epic day. I'm going to figure out how to get this video to Facebook, like download it and upload it because I don't want anybody to miss it. But yeah. Bye. I'm so bad at endings. Oh, go look at my Patreon. There's nothing for you to buy, but go look. No, I don't think it's up yet. It's not up yet. Don't go look at my Patreon. Okay, that's